Hi everyone, my name is Ilyan. I've been living in Korea for almost 5 years. And today I decided to do a little bit of an experimental video in English. I thought it would be nice to share some of the things I learned about Korean culture and to share some interesting Korean words maybe that I learned. Now, obviously I'm not Korean, so there might be some information that is wrong. But when I started learning Korean, I noticed that a lot of the classes were grammar-based and sometimes I missed the cultural component. So this definitely won't be like a Korean language class, but I think it would be nice to talk about some words and how words are related and doing that in a very homey context. So today I actually want to talk about bibimbap. Today I'm making a pie, and as you can see, my kitchen is like a real big mess. I haven't had lunch yet and I'm getting hungry, but I don't feel like cooking right now and I don't want to make the kitchen even messier or Jihyun would get a heart attack. My number one quick lunch fix is bibimbap. Most of you have probably seen bibimbap in restaurants, right? If you go to restaurants in Belgium, you almost always see bibimbap on the menu because it's this dish that really represents Korea and Korean culture. When I first went to Korean restaurants and I ordered bibimbap, I felt really fancy. It comes out in this big stone pot and it's sizzling and it looks so different and the colors are so vibrant. But now I realize that bibimbap has actually a much larger cultural background or meaning. So I would like to share that with you today. Usually you would see bibimbap in a stone pot. So that kind of bibimbap is called 돌솥 bibimbap. That literally means stone pot bibimbap because 돌솥 means stone pot. It's a combination of two words, 돌 and 솥. 돌 means stone or rock, and 솥 actually means something like a pot or a kettle. And you can find it in other words as well, like 가마솥 and 밥솥. So 돌솥 bibimbap is the kind of bibimbap that is coming out all nice and sizzling, but this is usually the kind of food that Koreans would get in restaurants and not necessarily the kind of food that people would eat at home. I want to share with you how I eat my bibimbap, and that's the kind of thing I learned from my parents-in-law. So what is bibimbap? Bibimbap, the word, literally means mixed rice. It's a combination of two words. The first part comes from the verb 비비다, and 비비다 means to rub or to mix. So 손을 비비다, to rub your hands together, or 음식을 비비다, 음식을 비벼요. That means that you mix food. So bibimbap, 밥 means cooked rice. You mix your rice together with other things. What Koreans usually do is they just take leftovers from the side dishes and some gochujang and they just mix it together. So it's a really quick solution to have your food. It's really delicious, but also you can get rid of all those little bits of side dishes that are left in the fridge. I got my rice here and I got my leftover side dishes. What Koreans usually do is they put these things called 나물. And 나물 are leafy vegetables. It's like spinach and other leafy vegetables related to spinach. You could also call them 산나물. 산 means mountain. So 산나물 means leafy vegetables from the mountains. In the case of my parents-in-law, they sometimes go to the mountain behind their house and they pick these leafy vegetables that are actually kind of just like weeds, but then they cook with it, which is really cool. I got some minari here. I guess you know the word minari from the movie. I got minari and I got 취나물, I think. 취나물. And then I got some 무생채. It's kind of kimchi from radish. 무 means reddish, and it's this big white radish that Koreans used to make kimchi and to put in soup. And then finally I got some gosari, which are young fern stalks. And I heard that you gotta be careful with these because apparently they contain a very low amount of poison, but Koreans eat it very often and no one's dying, so I guess in this like low amount it doesn't really make any difference. So I got my 나물 and kimchi on top of my pop, and now I am going to use some gochujang, means red pepper paste. And here again, it is a combination of two words, gochu, which means pepper, hot pepper, and jang, which is a word used for pastes and other things like doenjang, fermented bean paste, and 간장, which is soy sauce. And let's put some 들깨기름. 기름 means oil. And 들깨기름 is quite expensive, but it's so delicious. And you can see that this one was made by my husband's aunt because it's just literally put in a water bottle. So homemade. Has a bit of a similar taste to 참기름, sesame oil, but this is perilla seed oil, which is different. And now what we are going to do is just mix this together. I've seen my parents-in-law eat bibimbap like this a lot, much more often than the 돌솥 bibimbap that you get in restaurants. This is really the kind of food that Koreans eat at home. So 돌솥 bibimbap is actually famous in Jeonju. Jeonju is a city in the southern part of Korea, and it's actually the city where my parents-in-law are from. Now I'm done mixing this. Get myself some 물김치. So there you have it, the essence of bibimbap. Let's have a bite. I guess in the beginning I preferred 돌솥 bibimbap because it's warmer. This, even though the rice is really hot, if you mix it with the cold vegetables from your fridge, it kind of cools down really quickly. But I really enjoy eating it like this these days. The one word that confuses a lot of people when they start learning Korean is the word 밥, because 밥 means cooked rice, so you can't even use it for, you know, the rice grain that is uncooked. But it also could mean meal. When people say 밥 먹자, let's have dinner or let's have food, they're not literally saying let's have rice. They could also just go for noodles, or they could go for Italian food. It doesn't necessarily have to be rice. But I guess because rice is like a main staple food, people started saying rice instead of meal, which is 식사. The cool thing is that you can make this as spicy as you'd like to. I mean, the 나물, they're already like seasoned, so you could just mix them with the rice and it might be enough for you. Another thing that is really interesting about the word 밥 is that people use it as part of a greeting. So often when you would meet people, they wouldn't say like hi, but they would ask you, did you have any food? 밥 먹었어? 밥 먹었어요? And it literally means, did you eat rice? And it's a way to like ask how you are and show concern about you. Even though I knew that, it still confused me in the beginning. What should I answer? Why are they asking me? It took me a while before I started using it in my daily conversations as well. So I have to remind myself when I call my mother-in-law to always ask her like, oh, did you have like lunch? Did you have dinner? 저녁을 드셨어요? So that's it for today. I will continue my food, and let me know in the comments what you think of bibimbap. Have you tried it? Did you like it? Do you have any special like memories connected to it? And let me know what you thought of this video. 다음에 봐요.